Hello all and welcome into WHF Tier 2. You're joined by me, WHFR, for round 3 in this 12 round calendar. Welcome in to Spa-Francorchamps here in Belgium for the third iteration of the season as we follow Zampa, who picked up pole position in the opening race of the season. And Zampa declares that this is one of his favourite tracks and one of his best tracks on the game. We'll see how well he can navigate this one. As we'll follow Zampa around this famous circuit here in Belgium. Currently hosting the real-life Formula 1 this weekend, as we've seen Max Verstappen win the sprint earlier this morning, as well as Lando Norris picking up pole for the actual race as well. But welcome one and all into the stream as Zampa on a flyer here and into the bus stop chicane, has 2 more corners to navigate. As Zampa now up to the line, the Williams comes, and where can Zampa go as it's a 43-1 for the Williams driver. Laying the gauntlet for those behind, as Daddy Chill with a 43-3 next around. Let's see who else is around. Jimmy Dwyer with a good lap there. Stephen Beecham going quicker though with a 42-6. That is a good lap there. Who else do we have around? I think Lime may be one of the drivers coming up to the line, although Ty Clear, who won last time out in Spain, picked up his first victory. Meanwhile, it goes a little bit deep on entry to the bus stop chicane now, and Ty Clear on the charge to the line goes P4 as Lime now up to the line, and it's a 42-8 for Lime here in this one. Meanwhile, Ollie Bean on a flyer, Scones on a flyer, a couple drivers in that final sector, especially D Somers up to the line for D Somers and P5 on the board. As I think it was Ollie Bean next around in the Mercedes, followed by Infrajack, possibly. As Infrajack was P7. We've also PLG Raheem about to start a lap as well. As we do have one of the McLarens of Crimson off in the grass here, letting a couple cars through, it seems. Anyway, welcome one and all into the stream. Hope you're all doing well here. As half the grid now have already set laps here at the start. A couple drivers out there on another flyer. I think we'll follow TJ, who got P4 last time out in Spain. And we'll see what the man can do, reserving in the Red Bull this evening. As he bottoms through Pouon and invalidates his lap. We just had Sci-Fi cross the line there up into P11. We're still trying to get our final driver into the lobby of Cthulhu. And we'll see if we can invite him another time, but has to keep restarting for whatever reason. Not quite sure why his game is not letting him join. I believe that's the right one. As we did see someone jump up there. It may have been, not quite sure actually who that was. As Infrajack has left the session, that's a bit annoying. A couple of drivers here with teething problems. Welcome in, Yuri is always late, and As Aquarius Boat says, sub up then. And you know, Aquarius Boat has said it right there, you know. We'll follow Ledgeman on a lap here, as I think Cthulhu just joined finally. Finally got into the lobby. Now we've got a full field. And we will have 20 drivers here in Tier 2. But Ledgeman with a decent lap there up to P7, as I think Cthulhu now will finally be in a car. You'd love to see it if he can just finally grab one. Meanwhile, we've got the McLaren of Crimson out on a lap. Crimson last time out had a debut podium. What can Crimson do on his second race here? Scones improves to P7. Yuri's always says, will you gift me a sub? No. As Cthulhu finally has a car, so we've got all 20 drivers in. Love to see it. As Ledgeman, for whatever reason, loses it into Lacombe. Love to see the absolute skill on display. As we've got Zampa on a flyer now. He was the first driver to set a banker. And now... also, for those of you watching, for the first time, we're streaming live on YouTube, so if you'd rather watch YouTube ads, I'm not quite sure if YouTube shows ads or not, but if you'd rather watch on YouTube as well, you can go to the link in our Discord, which will be in our bio, and see if you prefer to watch it on the YouTube. Not quite sure if YouTube shows ads or not. I have YouTube Premium, so don't have to deal with that. Maybe there is YouTube ads, not quite sure. But as Zampa bottoms through Pouillon, the car hopping up and down on this flyer. And out of Stavolo, can Zampa get a good exit here? And he's 3/10 to the good. That is a good improvement. That may put him just out of line. But can he improve in this final sector to even get ahead of Stephen Beecham here? The title on YouTube is Tier 1, Round 2 Japan. Oh, for God's sake. You just, unfortunately, Restream is just so temperamental. Anyway, Zamp up to the line now, crosses it, does improve to get ahead. Half a tenth ahead of line, but Stephen Beecham still holding the gauntlet. I'll see if I can somehow fix the YouTube thing. Did I see someone go quicker? No. Let me see if I can fix the YouTube live while it's live. I don't know how to do this. This is the first time I'm streaming live on YouTube, unfortunately, lads, so there'll be teething problems. I don't even know where to get the live studio up, to be honest. Is there a YouTube live studio? Surely this is the right thing. Can all these tutorials get out of my way? Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus Christ. Can someone sue YouTube for me? Because I'm just trying to edit a bloody stream title and it's trying to get me to turn on my bloody camera and stuff. I don't care about any of this. Oh, Jesus. Anywho. Lime on a flyer now. In the middle sector. And we'll see as he exits sector 2. Is he up on his delta? 4/10 is Lime up. This could be a big lap for the Aston Martin. Could this be his first pole position here in WHF, won the first race in Australia, says this is one of his favourite tracks, along with Zampa. Both of these drivers have been saying that this is one of their favourite tracks, but Lime here out on an absolute flyer, and as he comes up to the line now, where can Lime go in the Aston Martin? It's at 42.6, improves by 2.5 tenths, and gets half a tenth ahead of Stephen Beecham. That's a good lap time there for Lime, and on provisional pole goes Lime. Meanwhile, Ty Clear invalid, and it said he was almost up by half a second there. That would have been a big improvement for Ty Clear. Who else do we have out here on a lap? In for Jacks on a flyer. Ollie Bean as well. Will be the next driver up to the line. And where can Ollie Bean in the Mercedes go? A reminder, 4 minutes left of the session, and Ollie Bean going to come in. 4 minutes left of the session. This will probably be the last opportunity for some drivers to get their lap times on the board. As, dear Lord. Trying to change. I don't need this, to be honest with you. Alright. Is it going to let me change the title? Here we are. Hopefully this just fixes the title and I don't have to go back through it again. But just love how it didn't work the first time. Because why would it work the first time? Alright, the YouTube stream should now be fixed. For those of you who are watching on YouTube. Hopefully it has the right title now. Yeah, the title has changed. We'll just see if it stays, because the same thing happens on what you call it. Oh, as D Summers getting out a couple people's way. Same thing as happens on Twitch, is if you start the stream with the wrong title, then after the stream, even if you fix the title, it'll reset the wrong title initially, so you need to change it anyway. Hopefully, this is not the case. But some teething problems we'll try and work out for future reference. Anyway, we'll try and follow a driver who's on a lap. PLG Raheem went a little bit wide there, as Crimson closely behind the Cyber. And maybe Raheem may have to leave the track, as Crimson didn't know really where he was going there, so Crimson had to take a tighter line just to avoid the Cyber. Wasn't quite sure what the Cyber was doing. But Raheem getting out of the way for Crimson and the McLaren now. Coming up to the line, this will be his final lap here, as Crimson comes up to the line and doesn't improve. Probably doesn't have enough ERS to go again, as Cthulhu retires in the pit lane, I'm guessing. Not quite sure where he was retiring. Anyway, we've got Stephen Beecham, who had held provisional pole, out on a lap now. And where can Stephen go in the Ferrari? Can he get ahead of Lime, who is just half a tenth quicker than Stephen at the moment? So we also have Scones out on a lap as well. Scones, last time out in Spain, had one of his best races, but two massive unfortunate incidents for Scones would mean he'd only end up finishing with a point. Could this be the redemption for Scones? Currently, he is P4, but he may have to try and regain some battery and go again. Meanwhile, we'll go back on board with Stephen Beecham, who is on a flyer now and out of Stavolo. 2 tenths to the good is Stephen now. Just has to nail the bus-stop chicane, as I believe Lime ahead of him. That is Lime ahead of him. Lime may be giving Stephen a tow here. And Stephen now round the final corner. Here at the bus stop, Shaquille now plants his foot to the thrower. Lime has missed the line, and Stephen Beecham is on pole with a 42.5. Lime just missed the checkered flag. Meanwhile, Zampa jumps ahead of him with a 42.3, and it could be another pole position for SSR Zampa here in this one. Mega lap there from the Williams. It seemed like Stephen Beecham had it there, but at the death, Zampa comes in. Meanwhile, we've got the Haas of, I believe, either Fackery or Ledgeman. Up to the line they come. Fackery up to P15. D. Summers doesn't improve. Who else do we have coming up to the line here now? Ty Clear around the final corner. One last time out in Spain. And Ty Clear all the way up to P4. Big improvement there for Ty. As Daddy Chill round the final corner. Where can Gunner go? I think he's made a mistake out of the penultimate, or out of the final corner there. As we do have Sci-Fi Mega Hype improving here. Can he get ahead of Ollie Bean as he rounds the final corner now? Sci-Fi Mega Hype up to the line now, up to P18. Next it's Cree. Jumps to P14. Dubsy comes in, no improvement for him as TJ round the final corner. Can TJ get a good qualifying here as he crosses the line, gets out of Scones, up into P5 for TJ. And next it's Ellis, but Ellis not improving here. Ollie Bean says, did all this practice and it's all for naught would be the best way to say it. But there we have it. Zampa on pole here. Again, second pole position of the season for Zampa. Can we see a potential Zampa win though? The top 5 there look very close. Although, now that I say that, Zampa is 7/10 clear of TJ, so it may be all down to between the top 4 here. But we did see Scones last time out have a very... Excuse me again. Had a very good race last time out. Just needs to stay out of the drama. And Scones could be on for a very good result here. As Kevin Kell in the chat says, supposed to rain mid-race, or mid to end race. That is interesting. We will see what happens as time progresses. But there you have it. Zampa on pole ahead of Stephen Beecham, ahead of Lime. Ty Clear, TJ Scones, Daddy Chill, Ellis, Crimson and Lanky is your top 10. Followed by Infrajack, D. Summers, Cthulhu, Cree, Dubsy, Fackery, Raheem, Sci-Fi Mega Hype, Jimmy Dwyer and Ollie Bean round out your full grid here in Tier 2. You'll love to see the turnout here in WHF Tier 2. Dubsy says, Arrow's been drinking. Hiccups. No, that's my pizza hiccups because I'm getting a bit obese. As Dubsy says, let's go wet setup. And Dubsy trying to go again for his driver of the day challenge as he normally goes for. And we will see as hopefully no one readies up early. I'm going to have to tell the drivers to ready at a specific time. And hopefully no one's ready up early. That would be ideal. But hope you've all hope you're all enjoying this lovely Tier 2 weekend. We've got SSR Zampa on pole ahead of Stephen Beecham, followed by Lime, and next it's Ty Clear. And any one of those 4 could really win the championship, you'd say. Any one of them could be the absolute favourite here. But get your predictions in the chat. Who do you think's going to win this one? Either way, it'll be quite a spectacle. We've got a very close qualifying there. I'd say anyone inside the top 6 is in with a chance. We'll have to see what strategies the drivers implement. It could be, as Crimson says, Stephen first win. Stephen has 2 P2s this season and is currently leading the championship ahead of Lime and Ty Clear, because Stephen has 2 P2s to his name. Could this be the race that Stephen wins? We'll have to wait and see. As Kevin Kell says, it'll be Steven Zampa, then Scones. That is a podium I think anyone will be happy with. Ollie B in the chat says Lime's going to win. So we've got a mixed prediction, and I think my prediction is going to be Zampa from Paul. He's got it. We're gonna have all the predictions be varied, which you'll love to see, because every so often you'll get a season like some Formula 1 seasons where you see the likes of Verstappen winning every race or Hamilton winning every race, whereas here in Tier 2, no one knows who's going to win this race. Currently Stephen Beecham, who leads the championship, yet to win a race, followed by Lime and Ty Clare, who won in round 1 and 2 respectively. Next it's Zampa, who is currently starting from pole. He is yet to get a win, and he currently has 2 poles this season out of the first 3 rounds, so we'll have to see who will be favourite here. But this is going to be an exciting one, and welcome in everyone who has joined us this evening. The drivers will be readying up in 1 minute time, so make sure to grab a drink and get ready for 22 laps? I'm trying to remember how many laps it is around Belgium. I think it is 22. 22 laps around the Belgian circuit here in Spa-Francorchamps. Just today, Verstappen won the sprint race. Lando Norris on pole for tomorrow's race at 2 p.m. as the drivers now have readied up, and we will get ready now for the 5 red lights. And here they are, here in Tier 2. 5 red lights on here in round 3 in Belgium. SSR Zampa will lead us away from pole. Who can get a good start, as everyone seems to have gotten away cleanly. Zampa down into turn 1. Side by side he goes with the Ferrari, as the Sauber of Gunnar absolutely... What is happening here? What was that? What did I just witness? As the Sauber of Gunnar went absolutely flying. Stephen Beecham now on the rear of Zampa. Lime on the outside of Zampa as well. It's 3 wide down the Camel Straight. Lime on the outside. He gets through on both of them. What an overtake from Lime. Down the Camel Straight. Gets a double overtake down the Camel Straight. As there's a couple of drivers battling at the back here. So much action throughout this first lap already. Crimson goes side by side with Ty Clare. Ty gets back through into P5 as they head down the hill into Pouon. But Lime leads the opening race as Infrajack now on the outside, as so many drivers leaving the road at Pouon here. Lanky on the outside of Cthulhu. Side by side they go now. On a big wheel bang between Lanky and Cthulhu, as D. Summers now going to get through on the inside of the Mercedes of Lanky. Oh, and who's that washed off there? That's Creakery off into the gravel. And it's been an absolutely hectic start here as Lanky gets back through on D. Summers as they charge now down to Blanchimont. And Lanky gets through as Ellis battling with Infrajack as well here. Oh, and the Alpine of Cthulhu. As what's happened here? What has happened here? Lanky and was that Sci-Fi? I'm not even quite sure what happened there. Absolute carnage. They completely missed the final corner. The stewards are going to have an absolute field day with this one. As Ollie Bean gets out of Creakery. What the hell happened there? As D. Summers now with DRS on Cthulhu side by side. They go down the Camel Straight. Lanky looking for a move as well here as they go all the way down the Camel Straight. D. Summers still on the outside of Lanky. Side by side they go, and D. Summers going to get through around the outside. As Dub Z battling with Scones now. Scones has dropped all the way down to P14. We missed what happened with Scones. Scones now all the way down the order as Ty Clear on the rear of Daddy Chill, who's now 2.5 off that top 3 as Stephen Beecham dropping a bit back from Zampa as Infrajack gets ahead of... that's Crimson getting ahead of Ty Clear. Infrajack picks up a 3-second time penalty in behind the Ferrari, who won last time out. Infrajack on the rear of the Ferrari. Bit of contact. As Stephen Beecham now seems to have lost DRS range from Zampa and Lime. Both Zampa and Lime were saying this is one of their best tracks, and they both are showing it already here on lap 2. They've gapped the rest of the field now. Is TJ going to get through on his teammate for this evening of Infrajack? Can Ty Clear recover starting on these soft tyres? We'll have to wait and see, but Zampa now heading after Lime. These two battling it out. Zampa has a big wobble out of the final corner, and Lime sets the fastest lap now. Zampa going to have to get back inside DRS range, otherwise Lime will check out here very comfortably. And out of turn 1, does Zampa have the pace? I think Lime may be already pulling a gap. Zampa now going to have to dump the battery just to make sure he stays inside the detection point and get DRS now. The Williams just about has DRS now on the Aston Martin, as the Aston Martin now maybe flashing just ahead of him. As Ellis picks up a 3-second time penalty. We've got Crimson on the rear now of the Sauber of Daddy Chill. And can Crimson close up to the Sauber, as unable to get ahead now, as we did see Cthulhu lose out to Factory. And into the rear goes the Alpine. Contact between the Alpine as Scones now battling with Sci-Fi Megahype. And Scones gets through now as Dubsy looking for an opening on Sci-Fi Megahype, and a brave move there from Dubsy to get through, which opens the door to Jimmy Dwyer. Jimmy Dwyer now also down the inside as well, as Cree watching this battle along. Sci-Fi Megahype goes side by side with Jimmy Dwyer. And Sci-Fi had to back out there, which allows Jimmy Dwyer through into P15. Absolutely lightning racing throughout the field here, as Zampa still trying to stay with the Aston Martin of line. Meanwhile, Stephen Beecham in his own little pocket here. And Ty Clear struggling to stay with Crimson. Has Ty Clear started on the wrong tyres? We'll have to wait and see, as Ollie Bean looking for a move on Sci-Fi Megahype as well, down for P17. A reminder, all the drivers inside the top 16 score points. So an important battle here, as Ollie Bean on the inside of Blanchimont side by side. So risky to go through there, as we get horrible camera angles as they head down to the bus stop chicane now, side by side. And Ollie Bean gets through on Sci-Fi Megahype, going a little deep at bus stop, but gets on through. A good move there from Ollie Bean. Meanwhile, we've got TJ, who started on the hard tyres, doing well off the start. And he sees Ty Clear, who won last time out, struggling ahead of him. Ty may have just lost DRS to Crimson ahead, as we head up a Rouge and Radillon. I think Ty does not have DRS, which should allow TJ to get comfortably ahead now down the Kemmel Straight. And TJ up into P6, reserving in the Red Bull today, gets ahead of the Ferrari. And the Ferrari maybe has gone for the wrong tyres. Ty may have to switch to the hards around lap 7 onwards, you would think, as Crimson and Daddy Chill battle. And Crimson sends it too deep, allowing the Sauber to get back through again. But as they head through No Name side by side, they go a little wobble from Daddy Chill out onto the gravel. Bit of a contact between, as Lime picks up a 3-second time penalty, as Daddy Chill and Crimson go side by side through Pouhon. But Lime, a 3-second time penalty here on lap 4. If Zampa plays his cards right, stays inside DRS range for the remainder of the race, Zampa could have this win in the bag. Meanwhile, Stephen Beecham is a second out of DRS. He's going to look to try and gain to get back inside DRS range from the car ahead. But Lime beginning to feel the sweat on his brow, as he's picked up an early 3-second time penalty with the Williams of Zampa following along. And could we see Zampa win here, as he may have lost DRS range there through one corner? He just about has it, but Lime got a much better exit through the bus stop chicane. Now I think Zampa may be taking it too easy and may allow the Aston to escape here. But Zampa got to absolutely drain the battery just to stay inside DRS range, as we see D. Summers go deep though, and Infrajack with a lovely switchback on D. Summers in the Williams. Meanwhile, Zampa, has he got DRS on Lime here? He does not have DRS on the Aston Martin. May have to deploy the battery to stay with the Aston here, who's still having a decent race despite That 3-second time penalty as Ollie Bean picks up a 3-second time penalty. And Lanky on the inside of D. Summers, side by side. They go through Lacombe. Lovely move there from D. Summers as Lanky looking for the switchback. The Red Bull of Infrajack poking his nose in there, trying to find an opening. But good move there from D. Summers and secures the move into P8. Now absolutely lightning battling throughout the entire field here. Who do we even watch? It's hard to stay with as Zampa now is back inside DRS range from Lime. Lime still has good pace here despite his 3-second time penalty. Zampa's got to make sure he keeps DRS to Lime, otherwise Lime could potentially escape down the road and pull the margin that he needs to that 3-second time penalty. As Zampa now going to head out of Stavolo. Going to need to again burn some of the battery to stay with the Aston Martin driver. As TJ on the rear of Crimson and Daddy Chill. TJ starting the hard tyres and seems to have some decent pace here. Can he clear Crimson? And TJ's Crimson goes defensive on the inside now of Blanchimont. TJ going to have to be patient to try and find a move on the McLaren. And TJ now on the inside of the bus stop chicane. Can he find a way through? May David on the inside. He does do that. And a lovely move from the Red Bull. And Crimson going to have to look for the switchback on the Red Bull. But the Red Bull placed his car perfectly as Tyclair already in off the soft tyres. And what a move that was from the Red Bull of TJ up into P5 to get ahead of Crimson in the McLaren. And Crimson and TJ following Daddy Chill. Daddy Chill is going to probably lose both positions here, as TJ may have picked up a bit of a warning there because he had to leave the track. They're not quite sure what line Daddy Chill was going for there, as TJ retakes the racing line. And Crimson looking for a move through Lacombe, unable to get ahead, as Dubsy now on the inside of Cthulhu. Side by side they go down the Kemmel Straight. Cthulhu's still there. Dubsy breaks later and gets ahead of the Alpine. The racing has been ferocious here in round 3, as Zampa still following along the Aston Martin. It's no easy task for Zampa. Zampa knows that Lime does have that 3-second time penalty. However, Zampa is struggling to stay in DRS range here. If Lime does pull a gap to Zampa, Lime could realistically build that 3-second margin that he needs to win this race. As a couple drivers racking up some 3-second time penalties. Cthulhu, Jimmy Dwyer and D. Summers all in the space of a couple corners there, all with 3-second time penalties, as we've got Ellis getting ahead of Jimmy Dwyer. Jimmy Dwyer losing out to Ellis, as Zampa has got ahead of Lyman very, very early. That is very surprising. Now, to let you know, lads, to all of you listening, this is a one-stop. This is only a one-stop. So Zampa, or Lime, gonna have to take those hards very long. Maybe that's what Lime is looking for, is to pull the undercut on Zampa and build a gap to the Williams. But I think he's gone very early. We'll have to see. Is this the move for Lime, as Lime has got his teammate of Scones just ahead of him as Lime exits the pit lane now. And will Scones let his teammate through, as Scones may try and help Lime win this race, as the McLaren and the Sauber go off at Lacombe. Contact between Crimson and Daddy Chill, as Lime still following Scones here, and Crimson and Daddy Chill swap again now, and Crimson getting ahead of Gunner, as Lime on the rear of Scones. Will he ask for some team orders here? Will he ask Scones to get out of the way? Will Scones know to get out of the way, as they head into Pouon now? I think Scones doesn't seem to be giving way to his teammate of Lime, and Lime may be getting a little bit frustrated, washes out wide, may have picked up a warning there, as Lanky gets ahead of Raheem. Raheem almost down off the track there, just about saves it, as Lime now maybe caught behind his teammate in some traffic. This may help Zampa extend his margin over the rest of the field now. Welcome in, Christian. If you type WHF... Oh, actually, that works. Never mind. I didn't realise that worked. you found it, Christian. As Lime now on the outside of Scones. Is Scones letting him through? No, Scones giving his teammates some work through Blanchimont. Not a lot of team play happening here, as Lime does get through on Scones now, but had to really work for it as Zampa stays out. Stephen Beecham comes in. We'll keep an eye when Stephen Beecham exits here. And Scones going to follow along his teammate now, but how much time is Lime losing because of the traffic? We'll have to see. Stephen Beecham exits just ahead of Dub Z. Dub Z going a bit longer. Started on the hards along with the likes of TJ. As we see Lime now on the inside of Factory. Lime going to get ahead into P6. And Lime in the Aston Martin, lovely move on the Haas. Makes short work of it now. Lime has some clear air to get caught to Daddy Chill, who seems to have dropped back a bit. Was battling with Crimson earlier and has lost a lot of time. As Lanky picks up a 3-second time penalty. But Zampa, he could go to lap 9, I would say. And then onto the hards. And I think he'd have decent pace to catch Lime. But the thing is, Lime's already caught Daddy Chill. Does Daddy Chill have some damage here? He does. The front right end plate. As Lime going to go for a late risky move on the inside of the chicane. And what a bold move that was from Lime. An absolutely spectacular move from the Aston Martin driver. Balls of steel here from F1 Lime. Getting ahead of the Sauber in the middle sector. What a move there from Lime to get ahead of Daddy Chill. As Zampa now comes in. He will have surely been undercut by Lime, but can Zampa use his fresher hards to catch Lime by the end of this one? We'll certainly see. You would hope Zampa has the pace to catch Zampa. And can D. Sommers work together with Zampa here? Can D. Sommers hold up Lime as they head out of turn 1? And Zampa may exit. Does he exit ahead of Stephen Beecham? He just about does. But Stephen now may see an opportunity, may smell blood in the water on the rear of the Williams, and Zampa will not want to deal with the Ferrari behind because the Ferrari could hold up Zampa's charge to try and catch Lime here, as Lime going to try and get ahead of D. Sommers. D. Sommers is going to try and defend this down into Lacombe, and Lime gets firmly ahead before the braking zone. Zampa has nothing to do, and Stephen Beecham gets ahead of Zampa now, and this is not what Zampa needs. Possibly Stephen Beecham and Zampa both have the pace to catch Lime, but they don't want to be squabbling over positions here while they both try and catch Lime. And this could potentially hurt their race, especially being caught behind the Sauber of Daddy Chill, who does have damage here. Will Stephen Beecham go for the move in front of Pouon? Stephen is going to go on the inside of Pouon and get ahead now. Does Zampa know that the Sauber has damage here? He just about gets ahead. Risky move there from Zampa as well. Gets ahead now of the Sauber, as the Ferrari of Stephen Beecham and Zampa work together to try and catch Lime now. Has Lime done enough to pull a gap? The undercut has been pulled from the Aston Martin as there's a yellow flag around. And it's Cthulhu who has lost out to Jimmy Dwyer and Creekry here. Not quite sure what happened with Cthulhu now. Stephen Beecham now will have DRS of D. Sommers. And Zampa going to have to latch onto the rear of this DRS as well, as TJ comes in for mediums rather early, you would say. But can Zampa and Stephen work together here? As D. Sommers comes in, can they work together here to catch Lime? As we see Ty Clear getting ahead of Dub Z. Stephen Beecham sets the fastest lap of the race. But how far are Stephen and Zampa off Lime? They're 3.9, about 4 seconds off Lime. They both need to work together to catch within a second of Lime. And I'm sure they'll both want to work together here to catch the DRS off F1 Lime. If Zampa's smart here, he'll manage the battery to try and attack the next lap. But I don't think Zampa is deciding to do that. He wants this move as soon as possible, but nothing doing there. And Zampa's got to play this smart. He's going to manage the battery to give himself clear air to try and catch Lime. But he's not going to do that by trying to force his way through at any available corner. Both Stephen Beecham and Zampa both have a lap fresher hards tyres than Lime. But can Lime manage his tyres to the end here? This is a really interesting battle here as Crimson gets ahead of his teammate Dub Z. And TJ is actually exited just behind Ty Clear. Does TJ have the battle to potentially battle for podium as well here? If he can get ahead of Ty Clear, he's got a lot of clear air ahead of Ty to try and catch that Zampa and Stephen Beecham here battling for the podium. Although TJ may have to go a bit longer on the mediums than he would have liked, to be honest. We'll have to see what TJ does. I can assure you the two-stop is not the move to go for, as Zampa got to be managing the battery here to try and get ahead after Radion. And the gap between Stephen Beecham and Lime continues to grow. And Zampa may have to make his move. Oh, as he has a little wobble mid-corner. TJ on the rear of Ty Clear. And Zampa's lost out massively. If Zampa's smart here, he won't panic and deploy all the battery. But you never know. Zampa may be in the panic mode. We can see his battery depleting very quickly, which would tell you that he is in the panic mode because of his mistake. And Zampa now going to look on the outside of the Ferrari. Side by side they go into Lacombe. And Zampa does get ahead. And he now has 1.7 seconds to get caught to Lime. Does Zampa have the pace to get caught to Lime here? We will see as Crimson now on the inside of Lanky gets through here. But Zampa now has no battery in the clear to use to get to pull ahead and pull a gap from Stephen Beecham to catch Lime here. So have Zampa and Stephen Beecham been fighting too hard between each other here to try and catch Lime. We will see Lime continuing to pull a gap now. The gap's at 5 seconds as Zampa and Stephen Beecham need to catch inside DRS. Now Stephen doesn't get the perfect run through the chicane there. May lose some momentum trying to stay with the Williams of Zampa. And they do have fresher hards here. But Stephen Beecham now may have lost DRS to Zampa. And Zampa going to try and eke his way back into the DRS of Lime that he had earlier in the race. As Daddy Chill picks up another 3-second time penalty. And Scones following D Summers along. Scones having another decent race here, despite earlier we seen him drop down to P14. Another recovery drive on the card for the Aston Martin of Scones, as Dubsy loses out to Infrajack, as TJ sets the fastest lap of the race here. Stephen Beecham trying to hold on to DRS range from Zampa, but he might not have enough in the tank, so Zampa now has got to play this smart. He's got to use his tyres correctly. He's going to make sure he doesn't overheat them and just slowly eke his way back into that 3-second time penalty threshold of F1 Lime ahead. Does Zampa have the pace on these 2-lap fresher hards? We will see. Stephen Beecham trying to catch the Williams of Zampa here, as they're all trying to catch the Aston Martin in a fight for the win here. As Ollie Bean gets ahead of Raheem out of turn 1. And we also see Daddy Chill get ahead of Cree now on the outside. And Daddy Chill now into P13. Not the ideal race for Daddy Chill, but finding his way back up the field as TJ picks up a 3-second time penalty. That's not going to help TJ's race. As Raheem now on the inside of Ollie Bean, side by side. The Sauber and the Mercedes go. Bit of wheel banging between Raheem and Ollie Bean, and they both just about survive there. As we also see Scones all over the rear of D Summers now, exiting Pool, and can Scones find a way through on his friend in the Williams? But ferocious battling here on lap 12. Zampa seems to have started to eke his way towards Lime now. Is Zampa using these tyres a bit better now, as he may have just kept Stephen Beecham at bay? As we can check, I'm sure. Lime on 4 warnings, Stephen. As Zampa has caught around a second in a lap here. Maybe a mistake from Lime has invited Zampa closer to that 3-second threshold as Raheem, as if we can bloody find him. And Cthulhu's retired. Cthulhu has retired at Blanchimont. Where's he gone? How's he gone off there? I have no idea how Cthulhu has lost it there at Blanchimont, but Cthulhu off track at Blanchimont, and he's our first retirement of the day. Surprisingly, no safety car. Let me have a quick look if the safety car settings are on. I just don't know how this game that there's been no safety cars. It's unreduced. I don't know, lads. I don't know. It's unreduced as it always is, and there's still been no safety cars this season in WHF. Surprising to see. Cthulhu crashing a Blanchimont did not bring out the safety car. But Zampa now slowly catching line as time progresses. And Zampa, this could be a first win for Zampa since probably 2020. If Zampa can execute this here, he just needs to eke his way back into the penalty threshold of Lime and also make sure he doesn't pick up any silly warnings here as well. And Zampa could have a win here. A reminder, for those of you who are new to the league, this is WHF Season 5. We used to be called SSR, a league that started back in 2020. As Ty Clear gets ahead of TJ. TJ leaves the corner, or leaves the track at a steady chill out of Stavolo. Seems to have made some sort of error. But as I was saying about Zampa, SSR started back in 2020, had 7 seasons, ended after F1 2022, where we then had a rebrand into WHF, aka We Have Fun F1. And that is where we are now, as Crimson gets ahead of Ty Clear. Ty Clear, who won last time out in Spain. And maybe just started on the wrong strategy, started on the sauce, maybe was not the right tire to choose, as D. Sommers gets ahead of Infrajack now. And Scone's trying to find his way back through on the Red Bull. But this is technically our 12th season, as Kevin Kell still a small chance of the rain, a small chance of rain at the end. Maybe not. We will see. As TJ on the rear of Ty Clear. TJ picked up another time penalty, which will certainly not help his fight to try and get himself onto the podium here. Meanwhile, Scones on a recovery drive. Yet again here in WHF trying to catch Infrajack and D. Sommers. Meanwhile, TJ trying to catch Ty Clear now as they head through Blanchimont down to the bus stop chicane. Zampa has pulled the gap to Stephen Beecham, but can Zampa close to Lime? That delta isn't coming down by itself. Zampa is trying to give everything, but Lime doing very well leading this race. Is TJ going to come in off the mediums? Does TJ have damage? I'm not quite sure. Scones gets ahead of Infrajack down into the bus stop chicane, and Scones now gets ahead. Is Infrajack going to come in off the mediums as well? Both Red Bulls possibly on the wrong strategy entirely, because 2 stops are not effective in Spa. I can let you know now. The pit lane's just too long, unfortunately, for 2 stops to be valuable here. But the Red Bulls, will see, do they have any pace in this race? As Ty Clear looking on the inside of Crimson, and these two battling over P4. Ty Clear, who won last time out in Spain. And it's lovely to see this, that we don't always have one winner here in WHF. Multiple winners so far, although unlike Tier 1, 2 rounds in Tier 1, and Cookie's got 2 wins. Meanwhile, here in Tier 2, Lime won the opening round, followed by Ty Clear. Can Lime win again, or will it be a new winner for Zampa? Zampa, who I believe his last win was on F1 2020, back in the days of SSR and OTL. I'm not quite sure if Zampa does have a league race win since then. Zampa can let us know after the race, but Zampa continues to pull a gap to Stephen Beecham. But is he catching that 3-second threshold of Lime? It seems to have stagnated around this half-second margin. Zampa going to have to use his pace that he has in these hards to try and close to the Aston, and it's so marginal here. Zampa does have the 2-lap fresher hards, but can Zampa catch Lime? And Zampa's around at turn 1! I don't believe it! Zampa's spun at turn 1! And he's thrown it away! Zampa here on lap 16 has thrown it all away! I do not believe it! As Ty Clear comes in off the hards along with Lanky. Absolute heartbreak for Zampa. Spinning at turn 1. Locked the rears into turn 1. and it could be another Lime victory, and it will not be a WHF Tier 2 race if there were not drama leading to whoever would win the race, as Dubsy now on the inside of Cree side by side goes the Canadian on the Mexican, and the Canadian of Dubsy gets through. Next it is Daddy Chill ahead in the Sauber. But absolute heartbreak. 3 races into the calendar, and we've had 3 heartbreaking moments for several drivers trying to fight for the win. And that is another one. Zampa spinning at turn 1 on lap 16, just overdriving the car. And Zampa may have thrown it all away now. Lime may have this in the bag, unless a late safety car can save Stephen Beecham and Zampa. Lime may have this in the bag. A similar scenario to Austria, where Lime did have a 3-second time penalty, but following the 3-second time penalty was able to keep it clean towards the end of the race. Can Lime hold on for another victory here? And could we be looking at a 3rd consecutive P2 from Stephen Beecham? Stephen Beecham may win this championship just by finishing P2 in every race, which I'm sure he would take. But with 5 laps left in this race, will we see any more drama as Scones heading on the rear of the Williams of D. Summers? D. Summers gets a poor run. Too deep he goes into bus stop as Lanky picks up another time penalty as Infrajack on the rear. We also seen Lanky battling with Fackery into bus stop as D. Summers and Scones battle out of turn 1. We also see Creakery and Infrajack into bus stop as well. Battles throughout here. And who do we even watch? There's so many battles. Scones now with DRS down the Camel Straight should surely get ahead of D. Summers, unless D. Summers is running lower wings. But I think Scones may just have it round the outside. Oh, he does leave the space for D. Summers, but D. Summers tags the rear of Scones, opens the door to TJ, who's on these fresher mediums, not inters. Maybe some rain could spice up this race, as Kevin did say rain was supposed to be on the way. But if the rain were to play a factor, it would need to really start raining like right now in order for it to be wet enough for inters in this one. As Infrajack on the rear of Dubsy. Oh, down the hill at Brussels, and Infrajack can't find a way through. Meanwhile, TJ on the rear of D. Summers. And I'm just really hoping for no more heartbreak for anyone in this race. I would love if everyone could just stop with the really heartbreaking moments, as TJ now on the inside of D. Summers going to get ahead on these fresher mediums. We've also got Ty Clare joining this battle as well. And we'll see what impact these 2 stoppers have on the race. Currently it looks like no rain on the way. Zampa could still be in the fight for P2 if he can get inside DRS range of Stephen Beecham, but it seems like Lime has too big of a gap now to pull, and Lime may have a 2nd win of the season as Ty Clare gets ahead of D. Summers out of turn 1, as Ellis gets ahead of Creakery, although Creakery just coming in there as D. Summers heads through the Camel Straight out of Radion. Can the Williams get back through on the Ferrari? The Ferrari didn't defend the inside, which opens the door to the Williams back on the inside again. And D. Summers going to outbreak the Ferrari as the Ferrari of Ty Clare looks for a move back through again. We can see Scones on the rear of TJ as well. Ty trying to find a way through, but D. Summers parks his car on the apex and gets through now. Here on lap 18, it seems to be too late for a safety car, and it may be another win here for Lime if he can just manage those hards to the end. It seems like Stephen Beecham and Zampa will finish on the podium behind him as Ty Clare all over the rear of D. Summers as they head through Pouhon. And this championship has been one of the spiciest in our history. We're not even quite sure who is really the title favourite. Lime, who will get his 2nd win of the season, may claim that title, but Stephen Beecham with 3 consecutive P2s also looking very strong here as Ty Clear now going to choose the outside of D. Summers. Blanchimont, very risky move as the Ferrari and the Williams go side by side. Ferrari on the outside, Williams on the inside as it turns into the reverse for the bus stop chicane. Side by side they go as they head through the final corner. Ty Clear going to look for the switchback on the Williams as they head out of the final corner. The Ferrari all over the rear of the Williams as Ty tries to search for a way through on the Williams of D. Summers. D. Summers going to defend the position here. And can D. Summers hold on to DRS from Scones ahead as Infrajack picks up another 3-second time penalty here. And Ty Clear going to try and get through as Infrajack gets ahead of Fackery as we see Dubsy ahead of Daddy Chill as well. Side by side go the Sauber and the McLaren as the Sauber still holding on to some damage here that may ultimately cost him. Dubsy gets a bit of a wobble out of turn 1 which will cost him the position, but can he get the run down the Camel Straight here? We will see. We've got Ty Clear trying to get back ahead as well. But absolutely lightning action this one. Throughout the races, down the hill, through No Name can Ty Clear get through on D. Summers. D. Summers defending like a lion here to try and keep Ty behind. And Ty in the Ferrari on these fresher mediums all over the rear of the Williams as they try and battle their way through. And Ty now out of Stavolo. Can he get the run on the Williams to finally get ahead? D. Summers has been defending well so far. And here on lap 20, Cthulhu finally leaves the session after retiring a lot earlier in the race. As Fackery and Dubsy battle for position here. And Dubsy getting ahead. As Ty Clear now on the rear of D. Summers. Can Ty finally get through on the Williams? As I wonder if Scones is playing some games here, helping D. Summers get DRS. He might be. He might just be. But I don't think D. Summers has DRS on this lap. And now the Ferrari of Ty Clear may get through on D. Summers. D. Summers with no DRS to defend. And Scones may have been helping him for a couple laps now, but now it may be all she wrote as Ty Clear now on these fresher mediums gets ahead of D. Summers now and may also get ahead of Scones as well, because Scones on much older hards. Meanwhile, Zampa still trying to catch Stephen Beecham to reclaim that P2. A reminder that if Lime picks up another penalty, Stephen Beecham, who is just teetering on that 6-second threshold, as Fackery in for inters. I must say, lads, I've got my hand out of the commentary box and I can't feel anything. Can't feel it spitting at all. Does anyone? I don't know. Anyway, Zampa now 1.6 behind Stephen Beecham. Can he catch the Ferrari? As we start the penultimate lap of the race, the Williams still has 7/10 to get caught to the Ferrari. As Ty Clear going to get through on Scones on the inside of Blanchimont. As Scones going to try and find a way back through on the Ferrari here. But Fackery, who's down in P16, may have thrown away the chance at points here because he's out on those inters. And I'm assuming Raheem will catch him and Raheem will get his first points in WHF. Meanwhile, Scones going to try and get back through again on Ty Clear, but does Ty have the pace now in the Ferrari? Ty would still jump TJ because of TJ's penalties here, and Scones could also look to jump TJ as well if Scones can stay in DRS range. Meanwhile, Zampa continuing to catch Stephen Beecham here. Can he get inside DRS range here on the penultimate lap? And Zampa seems to be catching very rapidly here to Stephen. And Stephen may have lost the ability to defend from the Ferrari. Zampa now Can he get DRS on Stephen Beecham and potentially at least recover a P2 in this race? It looked like Stephen had the P2 all sewn up, but Zampa now on the final lap may have DRS. He just needs to nail his exit out of the final corner and out of turn 1 as well. And he loses the rear. He does have DRS on Stephen Beecham, but he's going to lose a lot of drive that would have helped him close to the Ferrari. And now he keeps locking that left front, does Zampa, as he tries to head after Stephen Beecham as the rain has finally started here on the final lap. As Zampa tries to head as Raheem around in the wall on the final lap. Raheem almost with a chance at some points here, as Stephen Beecham going to try and defend from SSR Zampa. Zampa deploying the battery, trying to give it everything to get ahead of Stephen Beecham in the Ferrari, but not close enough here as the rain has started coming down here on the final lap here in Belgium. And this may add another layer of drama as Zampa tries to get ahead of Stephen Beecham here on the final lap. Zampa trying to put pressure on the Ferrari, but he keeps locking the front tyres. Does Zampa, being too heavy on the brakes, is Zampa. And out of Pouon, can Zampa stay with the Ferrari of Stephen Beecham? And always locking his front right. It seems Zampa struggling through every right-hander. You can see the front right locking. Doesn't lock it through Stavolo. And now can Zampa catch Stephen Beecham as they charge now down to the bus stop chicane, as there's a yellow flag out probably for Jamie Dwyer, as Zampa now on the rear of Stephen Beecham. And can he find a way through at bus stop? Zampa now on the outside of Stephen Beecham. Side by side they go into the final corner. Bit of contact between the Ferrari and the Williams. And Zampa may just about get through. Meanwhile, Lime wins in Belgium. It's a drag race to the line. And Zampa gets P2 here in Belgium. Just ahead of Stephen Beecham, as they were battling ferociously up to the line. Meanwhile, Crimson will come across in P4 ahead of TJ, but TJ will lose out to Ty Clear. But Scones, who drop back from Ty, may not get inside the threshold of TJ, just about misses out as D Summers finishes ahead of Lanky. And next it's in for Jack, Daddy Chill, and Dubsy will jump Daddy Chill. And in for Jack into P10, but yeah, it is rain here on the final lap as we see Ellis coming around the final corner with Dubsy, who jumps all the way up to P10. Oh, sorry, Zampa. Unfortunately, I do not have the sound alerts enabled. Anyway, Fackery, who is on the inters, it was the wrong tyre choice. Cree gets out of Ollie Bean, but Fackery, despite the wrong tyre choice on these inters, he went too early on the inters. Fackery will still score a point for Haas here, which we may see him join after the lineups are updated and revealed. Fackery does score a P16. Next it'll be Cypher Mega Hype, Raheem and Jamie Dwyer, who shout out to them for all sticking it out to the end, although unfortunately they have missed out on points in this one. But they did well, regardless, to stick it out to the end here, and will finish the race. But we'll try and get all the drivers now in for some interviews. Zampa, you there? And as we wait for Zampa to come in, and the rest of the drivers as well. Zampa, you there? Yeah?
Hello.
Oh, hold on, I need to fix my Discord. For whatever reason, Zampa is playing through my TV, because Discord loves changing my settings. Alright, I should be able to hear you now, Zampa. You started the race from pole, and you did finish P2. At a point in the race, it seemed like the race was on, but unfortunately a big mistake in the turn 1. But how'd that race go for you, Zampa, anyway? Oh, hold on. It's for some reason. What has happened here? Oh my god. What is wrong? For some reason, my audio isn't picking up. What has happened? Oh, for God's sake. I think we had no game audio the entire race. For God's sake.
Oh,
Thank you for following. Timmy is too good. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, my settings had reset, so we had no game audio the entire race. But I was chatting to Zampa, but Kevin Cal pointed out that that the stream couldn't hear. But Zampa, you did finish it P2
Oh.
there. How'd your race go?
Again, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, good race. Made the one-stop work. Very sweaty pole lap. Actually gained 2 temps in the pole lap because I locked up the rears. It done me a favour. Rather than ruin me. But no, yeah, good race.
And at a point in the race, it did seem like the wind potentially was on, but you locked the rears into turn 1. How gotten was that?
Well, yeah, it's obviously going to happen. It always happens to me, doesn't it? But with Lime doing the 2-lap undercut, no one was ever catching him. He won that as soon as he pitted 2 laps before everyone else.
Well, I thought you definitely had the momentum going your way. You were catching him, and that 3-second time penalty would have played an important
factor. And then that was when I locked it up and let Stephen back through. I'm glad I caught Stephen up again, but yeah, he might not have liked that lost overtake, to be honest. But
yeah, we'll have to see what the stewards say after that one.
It's all fun and games. We have fun.
Mm-hmm. And now that Stephen is here, we'll ask Stephen, how'd that race go for you, Stephen?
The race was fun. I think I made a mistake on the first lap after the once we got up the hill. I made a mistake and tried to go on the inside of Zampa. I should have went on the outside, and I thought he was coming back over, so I didn't want to crash. So I kind of took on the grass a little bit, and then I think that's when Lime kind of took the outside. So that's okay. It's all fun and games. Zampa catching up to me, his pace was crazy. His pace was crazy. Him catching up to me after locking up in turn 1, I'm just gonna say he deserved that. The last turn on the last lap was kind of fishy, but it's all, like he said, it's all fun. I had fun going back and forth with him, so I'm just glad I got another podium, and we'll just keep going until we get that race win.
That was really good fun, Stephen. That was really good fun.
Oh yeah,
good race.
Really good.
Really good.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Well, that is what I love to hear, I must say. In previous years, that an incident like that, we may have brought some scrapping in the interviews after, which I was worried about, but good to see you've ended cordially. Stephen, if you still think it was over the limit, you can put a ticket in and report Zampa. Because I know I love to hand out Zampa pens whenever I can. But
I'll be honest, by the time I'd got there, it was either, right, I either have to do this now or we're both dead. Do you know what I mean? By the time I got up next to you, it was like, fuck, like I just have to do it. So yeah, my bad, but yeah.
At this point, I'm glad we both finished the race, at least.
But anyway, we'll move on to the man of the hour, Lime. We've seen that you picked up an early pen, and we're thinking, could that have been a big mistake? Although a similar thing happened in Australia where you did pick up a 3-second time penalty, but you're able to manage the tyres to the end, and you pick up another win here in WHF. Lime, how'd that race go for you?
I'll be honest with you, qualifying was not what I wanted. In the third sector, I was about 2 tenths off on one lap, but I just couldn't get the battery management in, and I was losing about 2 tenths. So, I'm still happy with P3. Obviously, I somehow replicated the 2018 Sebastian Vettel move into Camel, and I just kept it there. Zampa was close behind me between a second to 6 tenths, and then managing that was quite fun. And then obviously I just took a gamble and said, fuck it, I'm going to go really early, cover an undercut from behind, and then did that. And you commented on tire saving. I did not save my tires. Trust me. My front right was on 80%. It wanted to explode. But
I would
I
have loved
stumped.
the drama to see you around bus stop trying to get turned with a puncture, and then Stephen and
I,
Zampa absolutely nose to tail through bus stop. That would have been some
I,
spectacle.
I, yeah, it was fun. Obviously, rain came in last lap and didn't really affect me, to be honest. It was just there. I wasn't really taking any curbs, so I wasn't much slip because I didn't want to explode my tire. But obviously, yeah, the pen I didn't really want, but I just couldn't get the drive into poo on that I wanted in the first stages, so I was just going a little bit wide, just getting those warnings, and I just got that pen, and I was like, right, I just need to tone it down a bit. And then, obviously, after I pitted, I was like, right, I've got the gap behind. I just need to manage that gap. And then obviously I just saw Zampa just stacked it, so I was like, oh yeah, I was literally cheering like yes, and then I just managed it from there. Stephen was maybe faster than me, but in some sectors not as fast, so it was managing the gap really. But yeah, it's nice to win a second race of the season, catching up to Stephen after what happened with my technical gremlins last week. But yeah, I'm not really going to stop there at the moment. But yeah, I'm not sure if I'm ahead of Stephen now, or if it's a couple of points between, because he came third. So
Yeah, well, I'll have to review after this, but nevertheless, second win of the season. Do you think that the title's on?
yeah, I mean, coming into this, I didn't think the title was on at all. I literally thought Australia was probably a fluke, but clearly not. So yeah, I mean, most of the tracks on the calendar, looking through it, some of them I'm absolutely godly at, like Spa, I am somewhat godly at. Britain, I'm godly at, so I am looking forward to it. Yeah, obviously Netherlands next one round. It's quite a fun track. Obviously tyre management there as well is a big factor, as well as Spa, because it's full throttle, twisty, turny, whatever. But the one I'm not really looking forward to Mexico is it's just a bit boring and bland. But yeah, apart from that, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing it, Lyman, and congrats for another win here in Tier 2.
Very much. And while I'm here, Stephen, very good race from you. I didn't really see you much, but from what I heard, very good, mate.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. That good you did really good on the first lap. I knew you were coming around the left side of Zampa, and I was like, I am not going over there 'cause I just don't want to mess up anybody's race. But that was from all you guys. That was fun. That was really fun.
Cheers, mate. Well done.
Right, that has been your podium interviews. I think we'll just head on to the rest of the field. We'll start with Crimson, who got another good result here in the McLaren. Crimson, how'd the race go for you?
It was interesting quality, at least. I didn't expect to really do well around here. This is one of my least favorite tracks in terms of doing well, at least. I ended up qualifying P9, and then first couple, first 5 laps were really chaotic, honestly. I ended up probably about P5 for a little bit. And then TJ, he ended up on a very wrong strategy and ended up pitting and gave me P4 because he was definitely faster than me today because he ended up catching me by the end of it. But I'll take it for a P3 last week and a P4 this week on two tracks I'm not really that good at. And we're going to one of my favorite tracks next week. So
Yeah, and we look forward to it. Do you think Netherlands could be a race you could potentially even win?
very, very good potential because that's one of my top three tracks. Them, that, and Singapore.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Unfortunately, Singapore's not in the calendar, but hopefully the Netherlands is your opportunity to get that win. And I would love if you get a win, because this season I would just love to see if we could get as many winners as possible. But we'll move on now to D Summers. D, how'd your race go?
It could have gone better. Quali was a shambles for me on my final run coming into bus stop. I technically locked the rears and lost traction and lost all the time I had gained on the final lap. But yeah, it was just a case of follow the strategy that I had laid out and hope I don't get into too many incidents. And by the end of the race, I think I was in sixth, 3 laps to go. and I dropped to scones and tie. But I held tie up for, I think it was 2 whole laps, just purely on defending him, trying not to get past. But yeah, in the end, I made my way through the field. I made a few overtakes, so I'm happy enough with the result. At least I didn't go backwards.
Yeah, well, that's good, and hopefully, is Netherlands one of your good tracks as well?
It's relatively good. I mean, Belgium is one of my worst tracks, or at least it was in the last game. But Netherlands is one of those tracks where it's dependent on my mood that day. It's a 50-50 whether it's going to be a good track or bad track.
Hopefully we can see a better result in Netherlands, because there is a couple of times you have qualified decently this season, but then you had your gremlins with the random EA not liking you and kicking you out of the lobby. And thankfully,
Yeah.
I don't think that happened today. It didn't.
It didn't. No, I've changed over to a power line system from the True Mesh that I was using, and since then I haven't actually dropped from a lobby. So it's something to do with the Aero True Mesh, I reckon. So,
Well,
it is what it is.
hopefully you can continue that and get some good results this season, because I feel like you really have been hampered by your random connection issues, unexplainable ones, to be fair, but anyway, decent race anyway.
Well, thank you.
We'll move on to Gunner. Actually, wasn't the best of races for Gunner. Had multiple comes together with the likes of Crimson, I believe. Gunner, how'd that race go for you?
Not great at all. The quali wasn't good. My banker lap, it was good, but my second lap was awful. And then coming to the race, I'm sorry, I'm on the bike with my friends. 2 crashes, 2 times got damaged, and yeah, just from there started falling back, and yeah, it was awful.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, the race didn't go the way you intended, but still, hopefully next week is Netherlands one of your better tracks.
Yeah, it is, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to race on that day, but I'll let you know close to the time.
Well, we'll hopefully to see whenever we see you, because not quite sure when you'll be back, but anyway. We'll move on to Ledgeman. Ledgeman, how'd your race go?
Well, I felt like it was going to go quite well. With quali, I done surprisingly well for my own expectations. I was just aiming for a top 12 quali. But then at the end of lap 1, I got spun out just through the final couple corners. Someone just clipped my rear and I just ended up backwards, rejoined last, and from then it was just try and get points. So I feel like I managed to do pretty well. I stuck out the one stop, hit lap 10. My rear left was very, very worn, like 80%. I thought it was going to blow. I tried to go one more lap, but I wasn't going to be able to do it, so I just had to box. Managed to get a few, not undercuts, but where some people box twice. I don't know what that's called. Managed to stick it a little bit longer, gain a couple of positions that way, and I was going to be in DRS, I think, Dubsy and the Sauber coming into lap 21, and then went too deep in the final 2 corners, completely locked up all 4 wheels, and set myself 2 seconds back. And so I ended up right on their gearbox at the end, but I reckon I maybe could have gained 1 more position before the end, maybe gotten 1 more point, but it's a little bit unfortunate. But overall, I feel like I had the greatest comeback drive that I probably could have gotten from that situation, apart from that final mistake.
Well, still a decent race, but unfortunately didn't go the way you would have liked. But is Netherlands one of the better tracks for you as well?
If you think back to Malmö, Trump, Zandvoort, then no, it's probably my worst track on the calendar. So there's going to be a lot of practicing this week.
You just need to avoid all of the grass, which is everywhere in Zandvoort. You should be good.
Yeah, I would have been practicing a whole lot with just running laps over and over.
But anyway, hopefully we'll see you then, Ledgeman, as we'll move on to Ollie Bean. Ollie Bean, how'd your race go?
I had the race from hell, really. So I completely ruined all of my quali laps. I really didn't do my setup the way I wanted it. I should have added a little bit more downforce, but that's my bad. And then, so I started from the back. I was fighting my way up. I had a little coming together with Scones coming through the chicane. And lap 2, I ended up, my wheel lost all feedback and I went right over the corner and straight into Scones. I got a 10-second penalty for it. And it was really, really bad. I had to switch to pad halfway through the race, which, yeah, my wheel, I was having all sorts of issues with my wheel today. I managed to claw it back up, but yeah, it could have gone a lot better.
Well, unfortunate wheel issues. It just seems to be with F1 games, wheel issues are always
Yeah,
there, especially for even our quicker drivers like Lime, and last time out in Spain was having wheel issues as well. So I don't think anyone's really exempt from wheel issues, unfortunately.
yeah, it's just like I was hoping Scones was in it so I could explain, like, I didn't mean to just go right into his side pod. I ended up just I couldn't turn my wheel and I just went right into the side of him, and I knocked off his wing and started. It was really bad. So
Ollie,
yeah,
when you
so
say Ollie, when you say you couldn't turn your wheel, was it like when you turn it, there was nothing, and when you like turned it like halfway, it did something?
No, there was nothing. I went right into the side of him.
Yeah, that's what I had in Spain.
Yeah,
that's how we went to a wall.
Yeah, it wasn't great, but yeah, hopefully Zandvoort I'm okay at, so hopefully I can bounce back then.
Well, we're hoping to see you and everyone have a decent race out in Zandvoort. But I think that's been everything from us here at WHF. Here in round 3, Lime has won again and closes up in the championship to Stephen Beach. I'm not quite sure who's leading at this point. I think it still is Stephen.
Stephen by like
it'll
8
be
points.
Yeah, it'll be a couple points, but as we head to Zandvoort, it could be an opportunity for Lime or even someone else potentially taking the championship lead. We'll have to see as we head on. But anyway, we will wrap up the stream here and we will raid B-Dunk, former WHF driver. Make sure to give him a follow on your way over. But I've been WHF Barrow. Thank you all for watching, and we'll be back tomorrow for Miami in Tier 1 and also next Saturday in Tier 2 where we head to Zandvoort. But anyway, thank you all for watching and goodbye.